Ruby Bridges was just 6 years old when she taught the world about courage under pressure. She was one of the first black students to integrate an all-white school in the South. And now she's sharing these lessons with the next generation in her new book, This Is Your Time. Please welcome Ruby Bridges. Hey, Ruby Bridges. First of all, it's thrilling to see you. Welcome back. I want to tell you about this amazing painting that I think lots of people saw with Kamala Harris, who's going to be the first Black and Asian vice president female ever. And she is walking really in your shadow, you know, as a young girl. And so when you saw this, how'd you feel, I guess, is really what I'm asking.
Probably like so many of us, I was just blown away. Even though I had an opportunity to meet Kamala back in March with John Lewis in Selma when we were reenacting the walk over the bridge. And she mentioned to me that she was possibly in the running, but I remember seeing that piece and thinking, oh my God, it just so reminded me that all of us are really standing on the shoulders of so many people. That's what it reminded me of. And I just felt so proud to be a part of that journey.
That is an incredible picture, I have to say. I wish I could get a hold of it and print it and put it in my house. I love it so much. So this past Saturday, November 14th, marked the anniversary, the 60th anniversary of you making history as one of the first Black children to integrate a school in New Orleans when you were only 6 years old. What do you remember most about that first day? It must have been, you know, very trying for you. And also about your teacher, Barbara Henry. Tell us about her, too.
Well, Barbara was an amazing teacher, and she came from Boston to teach me when so many teachers actually quit their jobs because they didn't want to teach Black kids. She was accustomed to teaching diverse groups of kids because she had taught on a military base. So, you know, I was really grateful that, in hindsight, that she was there because if I had been taught by one of those teachers who had refused to teach me, I don't think that I would be the person that I am today. I mean, it didn't matter to her what I looked like, the color of my skin. She made school fun. I felt safe and loved there in school. And I knew then that even though she looked exactly like the people outside, she wasn't like them. And that taught me the lesson that I think Dr. King tried to teach all of us. You know, we can't look at a person and judge them by the color of their skin. We have to allow ourselves an opportunity to get to know one another.
Well, you've written your story for children to read in your new book, This Is Your Time. It is just unbelievable. My 14-year-old daughter loved it. And you describe it as a letter to young people. What made you want to do this now? And what are you hoping that young people take away from the book?
Well, you know, I sat and I watched what each and every one of us watch unfold right before my very eyes, a person's life being taken away from them in such a horrible way back in March. And, you know, I've been traveling for 25 years across the country, speaking to kids, trying to get them to understand that racism had no place in their minds and in their hearts, and that we really needed to allow our children an opportunity to come together. But yet they saw this and, you know, they witnessed it. And I thought they must be sitting and thinking, this isn't what Ruby Bridges has been telling us about. And I felt like in some way I'd let them down just by watching that myself. And I really felt like I needed to be able to say something to them, but I was locked down like all of us because of the virus. And so, you know, talking to some people that were really close to me, they said, why don't you write a letter? And I did. And that's what this book is all about. It is a letter to the young people that I had an opportunity to come in contact with, the young people that I saw take to the streets. I was extremely proud of those young people because I felt like now they had a cause to get behind and that they were actually carrying the torch on. And so I wanted to explain to my babies, as I call them, that, you know what, this looks exactly like what I saw back in 1960. And it allowed us an opportunity to come together. And I do believe that when we come out on the other side of this, we will be better for it. At least that's what I'm hoping for.
Me too. There is a picture in the book of you with your new friends that you made in the first few months of school. And do you think those other children had any idea that people were trying to keep you guys apart?
I don't know, because for a very long time, I didn't even know that they were being hidden from me in another room. So probably they didn't know as well. It was because of Mrs. Henry that she was going to the principal and saying, "You're breaking the law. The law's now changed and kids can be together, and yet you're hiding those kids from Ruby. You have to allow them to come together." And we did, and that's when that photograph was taken.
Ms. Bridges, I'm so glad, I'm so thankful for what you did as a little girl and so grateful for what you're doing now so that we don't forget and we don't take things for granted. But you and your family risked your lives to help integrate William Frantz Elementary School in New Orleans. However, you've said that unfortunately this school, which now has a different name, has become segregated again with a population of majority Black students. How does this make you feel and where do we go from here?
Well, I am very disappointed about that. I fought very hard to have that school restored. And I really wanted it to be an integrated school because that's what I went into the school to do. And I've always believed that if we are going to get past our racial differences, it's going to come from our kids. And that's simply because our babies don't come into the world knowing anything about disliking one another. It is us. We as adults, we have passed racism on and we've kept it alive. I think if we allow our children an opportunity to get to know one another, then eventually I do believe, I am hopeful that they will help us to get past those differences. But it's not going to happen if we don't allow them to come together in schools.
Well, maybe that's why they changed the name so nobody would associate it. But keep yelling and screaming. We'll keep fighting also because it's crazy. So always, thank you, Ruby Bridges, coming to our show. We so adore you. The new book, This Is Your Time, is out right now. You can get it on any Amazon place or anywhere good books are sold.